Good morning, class. I am your business study teacher, Miss Muvangwa. Grade 11, yesterday we spoke about communication. We said communication refers to a transfer of a message from one person to another. I also spoke about effective communication, whereby we asked ourselves, why is it necessary to have an effective communication? And this is because it gives us a correct or a mutual understanding between two people. It gives us a direction and it informs us how well did the person understand. It also gives us a clarification that the person understood our message. So that's why effective communication is necessary. So today we are going to continue and talk about internal and external communication. So when you hear the word internal, you think about something that is inside the organization, within the school, internal. And then when you hear the word external, you think about something that is outside the organization, outside the school. So in business terms, internal communication refers to a message that is sent within the organization. So it's a message that is sent from one person to another in the business or in the organization or in the school. And a good example is that, for example, the principal emailed a teacher in school that she or he needs to do this and that. So that is a communication that is within the school. Okay, so and then we have external communication. And external communication refers to when a message is sent between two organizations. So for example, when the school sent a message, the school is now Concordia, sending a message or communicating with Asia Pen, for example, right? So that is an external communication, right? So in business terms again, when you say internal communication, a good example is that a manager talking to a worker, right? So that's a good example when you're using or when you're explaining business terms. And then external communication is when you communicate from one organization to another organization, right? So for example, when you say which business? Okay, Ministry of Finance, speaking to the Ministry of Education, right? So it's one organization to another organization. Or for example, Pep Store communicating with ShopRite, right? So we are also going to continue and talk about one-way communication and two-way communication. What is one-way communication? One-way communication refers to a message that does not require a response at all. You do not need to respond to one-way communication. And for a good example that people use as one-way communication is that maybe a principal commands the school to wear school uniform during the whole week, and then the next week he will say you'll be wearing casual. That's a command. The principal is commanding you to do that. And then the other thing is entertainment. So when someone is making a funny video, or you go to a gossip show or something like that, you do not need to respond, because it's a message he himself sending to you that does not need a response. And then we have a two-way communication. What is a two-way communication? A two-way communication is when a message requires a response. It's when a message requires a response. So in this case, when the principal or a teacher asks you a question, they need a response. That's a good example. Like, for instance, if I ask you what is communication, I need you students to respond to that. So two-way communication requires a response. Okay, let's continue. We are going to talk about ways of communicating. We have different ways of communicating, which are visual, verbal, and written communication. So in detail, what is verbal or oral communication? It refers to the sender of the message speaking to the receiver. Is when I am speaking to you. That's a verbal or oral communication. And then what is a visual communication? A visual communication includes methods such as diagram, charts, or a video. For instance, this video that I'm recording right now is one way of a visual communication. You are going to see me when you're going to watch this video. And then the other thing is written communication. What is written communication? A written communication is when you write down the information and give it to your friend, to your teacher, or so. Or when you're writing down a small love letter, that is what we call written communication, because you are writing a letter and then you're sending it to someone, from either internal communication or it's going to be external communication. Whether you're going to send your letter within the classroom or you're going to send it to another school, it's still written communication. And then we have sound language. What are the sound language? The sound language is when you're using your hands to communicate with people that cannot hear at all. So in most cases we use our hands and body language. Like for instance, if I'm saying I'm thinking, I want to tell someone that I'm thinking, I'll be like, and then I'll be like noting my head, thinking very, very hard, and the person will understand that this person is thinking. And talk about the methods of communication, the advantages and the disadvantages. So I want you to go read in your NAMCO textbook, module 1, on page 123. Okay, this is the end of the lesson. Have a nice day.